Testing, testing. This is really difficult for me, but I decided to do this because I wanted to document once and for all everything, and without no fear. I've got nothing to lose, so I'm blowing the whistle as it needs to be blown. Okay? On the name of Allah, I start, please. Ya Rabbal Alameen. Ya Allah, let my voice be heard. Let my truth come out, and let me come out on the other side as what I'm supposed to be, and all the effort and all the time that I have put into myself to see a day of happiness. In Allah's name, in Jesus' name, Amen. Okay. Before I start, I would like to begin and respectfully acknowledge the traditional custodians of the Wollongong region, the Dharawal people, and pay my respect to their elders, past, present, and emerging. I would also like to extend my warm welcome to Oprah Winfrey. We love you so much, and I would have loved to come and see you in person, but I am dealing with what I'm dealing with. And one day I will fly to wherever you are and have the honor to meeting you in person, because I love you so much. And I hope you enjoy your stay. I watched your eating Tim Tams, and you don't need to be welcomed because this is your country. I would also love this story, and I will make sure it does, because I'm going to protest all the way to Canberra. So I call upon the head of the Australian government, Anthony Albanese, and the HCCC New South Wales, John Tansey, PSM Commissioner Director, the Australian Health Practitioner Regulatory Agency, the AHPRA, APRA, Martin Fletcher, CEO, the Medical Board of Australia, Dr. Abigail Layton, Chair, the Service Australia PPS Administration, David Hazelhurst, CEO, the Australian Human Rights Commission, Dr. Kerry Judd, current Commissioner, and the Anti-Discrimination Board, New South Wales, Salim Javed, Commissioner. In regard to the Illawarra region, the people who know about my matter and have not constructively used their position and power, the Illawarra Shoalhaven Local District Health District, ILSHD, the person in charge is Margaret Mains, and she is the Chief Executive Officer. The Board of Government of the Illawarra ISLHD Hospital Cancer Care Service, Chris Burton Shaw, and the Illawarra Cancer Care Centre, Professor Lorraine Chandler. She's the co-director of Wollongong Oncology. She's the co-director of medical oncology, and Nicole Ryan, she's the director of nursing. And the founding senior oncologist, Professor Philip Klingen. I believe he is retired now. He's a radio-oncology patron. Wollongong Medical Center, Dr. Bridget Domines. She's a general practitioner at Wollongong Medical Center next to Chemist Warehouse. And Luminous Imaging, Dr. Philip Locus. He's the CEO Group Executive. And in Melbourne, Victoria, regarding Dr. Sam Tarani, the hospital where I was being treated, the Northern Epping Hospital, and the director of that hospital is Siva Raja. She is the chief executive. all of you people, come here. Today is the day that I commit a legal suicidal, because I'm going to talk about everybody who fucked me around through my breast cancer journey and they think they can get away with it. So at this stage, I'm fucking nothing and I'm going to fucking nothing and I'm going to be nothing. So let me be nothing. At least I get my story heard. If I'm going to end up in jail, let me end up in jail. I am just so sick of being the good person and I need my story to be heard. I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2027. It was a shocking experience for me. And I'm not even going to introduce myself at this stage because I need you guys to hear the story, and my name, even if I mention it now, it will be redundant. So I'm here just to tell my story, and I want to also be a powerful source for people to stand up for the truth. And also, the most important people that I care about are my children. And I have watched my mom throughout my life being an absolute warrior. My mom, she's so incredible. She will fight wars, man. But we're fighting wars that come in front of us. I'm clocking 40 years old, and this year I have spent $400,000 in 12 months. Why? Because of a medical negligence of someone that works here in oncology. When I did report the medical negligence, I started being treated as what? A difficult and a bad patient. Not only that, I was kicked out of here, told we have nothing for you, you can no longer come and get treated here, and so much more. But I'm going to tell this story one by one, but just to give an executive summary. This video that I have been trying to produce for the last 8 months, going up and down, trying to get my confidence to come and at the end of the day talk about my truth. It's finally happening. It's here. It's gonna be a vault, and what we do with it, I don't know. But I'm gonna get this story heard. I'm gonna distribute this all around the world through YouTube, social media, and I'm gonna have it translated in Mandarin, and it's gonna be translated in Arabic, and everything. So here we go. In this hospital right here, I was wrongly managed regarding my breast cancer diagnosis. Few years later, I came back and I told them, guys, you guys should have been medicating me for 5 years based on the system, not 2 years that you have. You didn't send me to any follow-ups, to anything. They said, okay, we'll look into it. But the minute I started asking questions, guess what? Every attempt to shut me down took place. So, and this is why I lost $400,000, my saving, my hard sweat earned money, gone. Just like that in 12 months, and nobody wants to take accountability. So I'm here to seek justice. Anthony Albanese, congratulations on your wedding, but you need to know that people that are accredited to be held in the duty of care are fucking your citizens around. And we need to do something about this, okay? My background, I've come to this country when I was 13 years old with zero English, okay? Went to intensive English school for about 2-3 years, learning this language. And the feeling of being a mute in a society when you're the opposite. As a child, it's like being part of a dream that you cannot be part of, being part of reality but you're not part of this reality. But at the end of the day, I'm not the only person who had gone through this or will go through this. So it's just an experience that we humans go through. It is what it is. But the day that I actually, it's like you're zooming a camera. You know, every day you listen until one day you start understanding. Your eyes started opening up, and then you start understanding what the people in front of you saying. Just to tell you the level I went through to understand the Australian society, I went all the way down to the deaf society, and I started learning Auslang. So When I finished high school, I sat down with myself. I said, okay, Taz, what can you do in this society? Be truthful. One thing I loved about coming to Australia and that I learned is I learned something. There's something called fair dinkum. So I was like, you know what? I would like to be part of this trend of fair dinkum. So from that point, as young as I was, I lived my life fair dinkum way. Okay? It's checklist. Is it right or is it wrong? And that's just my philosophy in life. Fair dinkum life. What's right? Let's go. What's wrong? Stand up for it. Okay, I'm losing track of thought, but I'm gonna come down and get to the point. Okay. Now, I really wish that I was coming to you guys with a different experience, but I'm gonna use this to aid and assist, telling my story to different departments and people that I mentioned earlier are going to help me seek justice for myself. I request kindly. So right now I'm in the uttermost point of my life. So we have had a slow start to life, in the sense that political issues that are happening in our country is forcing us to leave, going to seek a better life in other countries like Australia. It's a big game, okay? It's a big game, and so many years have been lost, so many lives have been lost in the same game, and we're not getting anywhere. Climate change is kicking in. We don't even know what the end of this world. People are building, 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 building before you know it all popped out. Anyway, I've written so many notes and I've been in this car for like 3-4 hours trying to get this, but I'm gonna get through it. Like, I just need to get it out of my system. So I'm gonna shed a light on my experience. So let's start. My name is Taysira Atiya, and unfortunately I wish I was here to discuss a different story and something with a more happy tone. But my story is about fighting and is about resilience. I am here to share my journey going through breast cancer, battling the disease, and not only battling the disease but dealing with gangsters in the field. Unfortunately, I have experienced and dealt with people who should be held accountable in the standard of duty of care towards us as patients. But my experience was actually fighting these people, and this is why I'm calling them gangsters. With all due respect, and when this respect is earned, it's on top of my head. But truthfully, I had a really, really difficult experience, unjustifiable, and it all started in 2017 when I discovered a lump underneath my arm, and I went to get it checked out in Unedera, um, and I got it checked out, and it came back positive for ductal carcinoma. So, ductal carcinoma is a stage 1, or it's a cell, cancer cell. It was positive to this ductal carcinoma cancer. So basically, ductal carcinoma is like when the cancer cell is intact. So the cancer cell was intact. If this cell opens up, then it's different stages. So the good thing is that it was just a cell ductal carcinoma. And if this cell opens up and it goes into our breast ducts, that's when it travels through the lymph nodes and it can cause other damages to different parts of our body. Now, in Australia, in 2025, 20,336 people will be diagnosed with breast cancer. Between statistics show that in 2027 to 2021, no, in statistics show that between 2017 and 2021, 5 years after diagnosis has improved to 93% if caught early and managed. So 93% survival rate. That's a very high survival rate. When I was diagnosed, I shared the news with my family. I'm a mother of 2 children, a boy and a girl, thank you, Lord. And I shared the news with my brother, who had the job to share it with the rest of the family. So he set my family down and told my mom, my children, extended family. And a few of my friends who are in the medical field, they told me, look, Taz, because I live in the Wollongong region and I'm working and living between Wollongong and Sydney, they said to me, Taz, don't get your operation done in Wollongong Hospital. We know exactly what goes on in Wollongong Hospital. It's not the best of hospitals. So we advise you, go get your operation done in Sydney and come back and deal with the oncology part of it here. So I believe truthfully that this is my testimony. I'm being tested by Allah. What I have gone through, I need to share it with the people. And I know I'm being tested. And I know I'm going through this life with all its exams. I have taken them. I have passed them. And I have stayed committed to being truthful and humble. Right now, I have nothing. I have worked so hard. I have my health, thank you, Lord. But with that came mental health issues. I don't know if you know Mr. Anthony Albanese. You probably know. And I was thinking about you this morning. Every time I go to the bathroom, all that's coming in my head, what this bitch doctor told me. What's an African like you going to do? Can you imagine? I went to get information on my result, and the doctor was telling me what's going on in my body. And I said to her, when I go to the oncology team, they're not telling me what you are telling me. So she was telling me that the disease had gone to other parts of my body when the doctors were not sharing this information with me. So I said to her, look, I really don't know, but if this is what is happening and my doctors up here are not telling me the truth, I'm going to go and seek medical help overseas. So she says to me, what's an African refugee like you going to do? Can you imagine me being in that moment where I'm trying to navigate the health system of breast cancer? Okay? A health practitioner telling me, what's an African refugee like you going to do? Now, I didn't come to this country as a refugee. Even refugees themselves, when they come to this country, they're called former refugees. A lot is changing in this Australian society, and unfortunately, it's not changing to the positive. All this bloody racism and discrimination that's coming from America, all this shit about person of color, Black Friday sales, what the heck? These things never used to be here in Australia. When I first came to Australia, I was Sudanese woman, African Australian, very nice. I keep my identity. African Australian, I love that title. Skip to a few years later, I'm black. I'm a person of color. Black Friday is coming in. Why? People on the radio talking about white privilege in I-98. when this history is so young on indigenous abuse, and we came, all of us came, other people came on top to add to suffocating those indigenous story. This country needs a big shift, and we need to come back to that fair income society. We need to come back to that multicultural society, and we need a big review, general direction on the education system from primary school, high school, university. I don't know what goes on the other side because I haven't reached that level yet, okay? But in all those different channels, I'm telling you, Anthony Albanese, discrimination is happening. Your teachers, I'm not saying everybody, teachers are sleeping on the wheel, doctors are sleeping on the wheel, nurses, they can treat people anyhow. This is not the money that's being invested in this country. We should be in another different whole other place, okay? So I ended up going to get my, at that time, so my educational background. So after I finished high school, I went to do HR. During the time when I wanted to study HR, the policy had changed. I got out of HR, I went into business management. So as a young girl, I started, my first job was at KFC in Chatswood. I was working in KFC with my little glasses and hair. Did that job for a few years. Imagine, age 16. I've been paying tax since I was 16 years old. Okay, skip that. From there, I worked in a retail shop selling formal gowns. It was called Hearts to Hearts in Chatswood Shopping Center, but it's shut down, of course. But it was a very good brand. They sell nice formal clothes. And I used to get so shocked that people spending $300 on dresses and all this. But I learned about fashion. My manager was really good. After I did that for a bit, I went to TAFE. After I finished high school, with my level of English, I am bright, but the English language and the spelling is crippling me. But I can speak and read 2 languages now, Arabic and English. And I sat down with myself. I'm like, you know what, Taz? Where are you going to go with this spelling of yours? What interest you're going to go into? So I went into study certificate 3 in business management. After that, I went and I did another certificate in Auslang, sign language. Very interesting. From there, I used my certificate 3 to get into the financial services and network services. I worked for Optus. I was doing graveyard shift in Gordon. Was doing graveyard shift. In there, I learned about telecommunication. I learned about networks. There was a 2-month training, activating SIM cards. Understood everything about networks, how the different networks work, how signals jump from one teleport to another. From working with the with Optus, I started selling computers for Dell. Sold computers for Dell in Chatsworth Shopping Center. After that, I went into banking. I worked in the Colonial Building in Parramatta. What was I doing? I was doing mortgage release settlement, talking to conveyancers, people purchasing a home. You call the bank to exchange the money when the conveyancer is there. It was me. You get me. I will go pull up your title deed, the old person's name, change it to the new title holder, file it with the ATO, and I saw some really historical information on how the old title deeds used to look like. So I have learned the Australian system from the ground up. After that, I went and worked in the branch. And I was a very fast worker. Even one team leader came to me and said, no, one of the staff that we're working with, she's like, Taz, if you keep working so fast, they're going to increase the amount of load of work that we do. And the team leader couldn't believe that I'm working this thorough and this fast. She had to come and check my work, and when she did check my work, I was ace because I've already piled up all this data processing and learning policies and stuff like that. So after that, um, I went to work in Rhodes branch as a CSR2, opening bank accounts, closing bank accounts, dealing with term deposits, home loans, referrals, anything to do with financial services. I was there. And I also worked for 13221 at the call center in Pitt Street, upstairs there. I have done a lot. Okay? I've also sold insurance with NRMA, home and content insurance with NRMA. Put that in the bag. After all this, I went and got married to a South Sudanese, trying to bond all this bullshit that's happening in my country. That didn't end up too well, but that's another story. But resulted in a beautiful 2 children. Thank you, Lord. Okay, so after I had my so we were living in Artaman in Chatswood, and after I got married in Fiji, had a beach wedding, and we ended up moving to where? Lakemba. Lakemba, the shops open 24 hours. I was like, wow, this is what I'm used to. When I came to Australia, everything was quiet. Coming from Egypt to here, it's like being put in a literal vault. I love Australia. I will die for Australia. I love Australia with every part of my body. I love this country so much. I genuinely do. But the people that you face in the street, in the public, in your daily life, make you hate this country, you know? And they're acting from a place of fear. They're acting from a place of jealousy. They're acting from a place of negligence. They're acting from a place of not understanding. Okay? They're acting from the place of the I set the benchmark. No, you don't set the benchmark. We all set the benchmark. So after that, um, after I worked for Rhodes, and that's where I was pregnant with my first son in 2009. After I had him, I started thinking to myself, you know what, Taz, I need to still go and upskill myself. I cannot be just doing these kind of jobs and going from place to place. I need to just settle and um, improve myself. And I'm in the game of always moving forward, reinventing myself, improving myself. But I talk the walk and I walk the walk with my certificates and with my knowledge. Okay? I thank God that I have the opportunity through the educational system, through the vet loan, that I'm able to do those studies, that I have paid taxes, and I will pay what is owed to me in terms of my student loans. So I went to TAFE Bankstown and I enrolled in a diploma of business management. By the time I had my son, I successfully have completed my diploma of business management. Just as I had my son and he was about 7 months, I wanted to, my aim was to go to the advanced diploma and maybe from that advanced diploma use it to go to uni. So some people had good English that they could just go express. No, me, I had to take all the levels to get to where I want to be. So after I did the advanced diploma, so I did the diploma at TAFE Bankstown. Then I found out I was pregnant again. At that time, I wanted to leave the father of my kids because I felt like he's changed. He's not the same person I met in a short time. I discovered that after I had my son, he's not the person that I fell in love with and wanted to start a family with. So 7 months into the marriage, I wanted to leave him. And as I was just coming to make this decision, I fell pregnant with my daughter. And I did everything by the book when I was pregnant. No, that time V came out and I was in love with V, but I stopped drinking V. And up to this day, I don't drink it anymore. I love to eat healthy. I love to exercise, so that was natural for me. Stop drinking wasn't an issue for me. And I didn't want to stress my baby in my tummy. So when I confronted my ex-husband with all the problems that we're going through. I said to him, listen, all I want you to do is just move out. I don't want to stress this child in my stomach, in my baby. I don't want to stress my baby. Whatever's going through in our marriage, can we please just deal with it after I have this baby? Okay? But for the meantime, please move out, or we stay in this house, but we are just parenting. Anyway, we went through that situation. Ended up having my daughter. So I had my child, beautiful girl. I was very happy. And the grandfather of our children, my ex-husband, he passed away, so he had to go to Sudan for the funeral. The day that he passed away, the next day my daughter was born. So he wasn't around for her birth. It was me, my mom, and my son, Mandela. We went to the hospital for me to give birth. And because my first child was a cesarean, second child automatically was a cesarean. So we drove to the North Shore Hospital where I had both my children, and came back home. And when my ex-husband came back home, I thought, after his experience of his father's death, maybe he will just be more family oriented and change. But it wasn't the case. He just got on the bottle, became really abusive, and it was very dangerous to be around him. So I decided to ask him for a divorce and leave that marriage, traditional divorce. And from there, I was a single mom, living in Strathfield at that time now. So raising the two kids, no income, literally all the money that was coming through was for rent, childcare fees, and my gym membership. And in between, I tried to do some work and come up with different business plans, this and that. So I enrolled myself in Parramatta University, NSW, and I was interested in economics and commerce. So I enrolled myself in that degree. And the first day of uni, I went sitting down. The auditorium was full of students. One student started talking rudely to the teacher, like it was one of those scenes where a student just lashes at the teacher and talking rudely. And I've got two kids at home, and going from one lecture to another lecture was just like a mission. And I was still going through it, and I was driving a shit ass car, $3,000 car or something like that. And my mom was helping me look after my children when I went to uni, and they will go to childcare some days, and some days they won't. They'll stay with my mom. So, cut the story short. There was an opportunity for me to enter the early childhood sector. So I went and I stopped my university degree and enrolled myself in an early childhood course, diploma. So I did my diploma, and through that, I ended up working as a family daycare worker. Genuinely, I know all the messed up shit that was happening in the industry, and my name did get caught on it, but I was never part of anything. So my mom was already in the family daycare industry since we came to Australia. She was working for different families in the North Shore, helping them looking after their babies. So she was already in the early childhood industry, working as a family day carer. And she used to actually, when I was in high school, she used to care for children in our home. So I was already in this environment for many, many years before I came to obtain my diploma and work in the field. So a few years later, after I finished my diploma and working in the field, we decided to open our own organization, Family Daycare. So we opened um, a family daycare coordination unit, and I called it Hands-on Academy Family Daycare. So in running the operation with all the experiences that I just explained to you, I was really good at it. I knew how to manage a business. I had the qualification and I was educated in the field. I had the experiences and I had my mom who's been in the field for about 20 plus years. So we're good. Um, Part of the requirement for early childhood educators to work as um, educator, you need to have a certificate 3 in early childhood and care. So I was training. So I went and got myself a certificate 4 in training and assessment. I went through the course. I was given all the resources and assessment. I did that. And from there, I went to enroll in an advanced diploma with Mr. Wed. And I loved the training industry so much because I have been a student for so many years. I know how a student learns. I know now all the theories behind teaching. My mother also was a teacher in maths and science for many, many years in the Gulf and in Sudan. And she, her last career was a journalist. And she was part of a big political movement. And every step of the way, I was there with her. So I've know education system is student satisfaction, putting a training and assessment together. Everything is in my system. Okay. So after I started working, having my business, family daycare business, and then I discovered that no, I like the educational sector better. So after obtaining my advanced diploma in training with Mr. Wed, I went and seeked through consultation and started my own training organization, and I called it Australian Southern Star Training Institute. I ran that for a good couple of years, about 7 years. So we're talking about like from 2012 onwards. So by 2016, 17, I was diagnosed with the breast cancer. So when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, my at that stage my phone would not stop ringing. Like my phone was full on. I'm the CEO of my training company. I had left the family daycare, my business, to my mother and my brother to run. Um, I continued with the training part of the business. So then in 2017, in May, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So, and by that time, I'm living in Wollongong. So I decided to slow down. I decided that after I graduate my last group of cohort of students, so in my college, we're teaching first aid, and I was also a first aid instructor. Um, First aid certificate, leadership and management, early childhood certificate, diploma and cert 3, and I used to run workshop for youth in my center as well, and um, everything was going perfect. And sometimes you work with people in the industry and you treat them with the place of like, okay, we're all working towards the same goal, which is providing high education with a beautiful outcome and ethically managing the funding that is coming for those students. So I had an experience where I was dealing with a company. Unfortunately, this company did not act ethical that they should have been, and I ended up ending my contract with them. But with ending my contract, I bought my peace of mind, and that contract was about $400,000 worth to the company. But they were gangsters in the educational industry, and they're a company that operates from Parramatta. They're called Links Institute right now, but before that they were called Empower College. These people, I worked with them through a memorandum of understanding for about 12 months together. They did everything to disable a smooth learning for my students, which I had fought for. At the end, they did so many things that were not right by law, partnership, etc. So I left all that and ended my contract with them and did not even seek anything. So I worked with these people for about 12 months and I have not received $1. And I just bought my peace of mind because money doesn't really matter to me. It is the purpose. If something is not going in the way that I want it for my company, and it was a waste of time, period of waste of time for the students, but they took over the students in the wrong way. But if they anything they need to answer to the to ASQA, it will be them, it's not me in that example. So anyway, yes. So when I was diagnosed in 2017 with breast cancer, of course it was like a shocking matter. Oh yeah, there was also the time when my ex-husband cheated on me, and I went and I did a certificate 3 in private investigation. Yes, I did. So I'm always educating myself. Ya Rabbal Alamin. Anyway, Anthony Albanese, I hope you're listening with your wife. I really hope you're listening. Okay, my hand is numb now. So after I was diagnosed, I decided to shut everything, focus on my health, focus on my children, and come back. And when I'm well, start again. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I've been trying to do this. I've been in the car for 12 hours. I mean, 4 hours now. I swear to God. I swear to God. But I need to move soon because it's going to be a clear zone. It's 2 p.m. right now outside the hospital. I started doing this in front of that medical center because I wanted to bust them. But I moved here because the aircon wasn't working. I had to move the car again. Anyway. Oh man, I don't even know if I'm going to publish this. I know I'm derailing, but I'm going to talk about it. So after I oh yeah, so after I before I was diagnosed, when I was working in Sydney, I used to come to Wollongong here as part of my work. So then I saw that Wollongong market really is a good market to establish a childcare center. So I was in the market to getting a second property and I was going to use that property to open a childcare center. And I found a nice property here in Kirraville, 8 Narang Street, Kirraville. It was an 860 square meter corner block, a few streets away from the hospital. And when I purchased that, when I came to the auction, Channel 9 was there, and it was one of the most expensive purchases of the day. And I was in the show, in the block, in the show. It was there on Channel 9, I think 9 or 7. No, Channel 7. So then I got an architect and I worked with her, and we put a plan for a 2-level story childcare center. Beautiful design for a small group, but it was going to be good because it's right next to a school, and it was going to be a very, very beautiful venture, business venture. And I had everything. I had the knowledge. I had to come up with the funds, but that was at, like, later stage. So the good thing is that I already had a property in Strathfield that I co-owned with my mom, and I live with my mom. And getting a second property wasn't an issue because they used the first property as a collateral. So all you gotta do is pay another deposit, which was around $80,000 to get the other property. So that was not a problem. And I was lucky enough to win the auction. And so when we did apply to the council here, and I went to the council meeting, sat down on the table with the different departments of the council meeting to put the DA, they came back and said that, another thing that I had to check was, of course, I was aware of checking that underneath the earth, the plumbing lines are clear, that the lines are not around, and the lines, beautiful block, such a good block. So the plumbing was fine. But there was one condition, one issue when the DA assessed the application, that the plumbing department was saying that that zone every 100 year can be subjected to a flood. So when you come to the childcare policy, establishing a childcare center, it's not accepted. I'm sure there could have been ways around it if I had, or plans or something like that. But then I was faced with another situation that I had to strategically change my plan and ending up keeping the property for me to live in. Was that my mother got remarried, so I could no longer live. Her and I will all live in the one house in Strathfield. So I said to mom, "Yani khalas, don't worry about it. I will move to Wollongong," and that was a better decision because I want my children to grow up in a beautiful, peaceful environment. Anyway, Sydney is too busy. By the time you go and drop your kid to school, he used to go to Mary Bashir as the first grade. Come back, drop Yara at the childcare center, go to work, the day's finished. By the time you want to get a loaf of bread, for God's sake, it'll take you half an hour to go to Burwood Shopping Center and come back. So I was with the idea of moving to Wollongong and just having a peace of mind while I will do the driving to Belmore, where my college was, which is fine because on the way I just make phone calls, deal with business stuff, hear audio books. It was okay. Just jump on the highway against traffic, I'm there, no problem. Anyway, so when I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2017, it was very traumatic. And as I was saying,